Welcome to the first annual Golden Test Tube Awards. And now, please give a warm welcome to your hosts, Spitfire, Lucas Parrish, the chemist, Jack McGrath, and the king of trades, Shane Palma.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today? I'm the chemist, Jack McGrath. We're going to kick it to Spitfire, Lucas Parrish, and the king of trades, Shane Palma, in just a second. But first and foremost, welcome to the Golden Test Tube Award. So this is the end of season fantasy football award show presented by the Fantasy Football Laboratory. In a fantasy season, there are lots of highs, lots of lows, a whole lot of in-betweens. Here, we are going to honor the highs for the guys who led you to your fantasy championships, led you to the playoffs, won you some fantasy football games. We're also going to mention the lows, some of the guys who were the biggest busts of the year. But overall, this is going to be an awesome show. We have some great guest presenters, former NFL players, present NFL players, NFL Network hosts here to present the awards as well. So we're going to hit on a bunch of different awards. We've got our nominees, we've got our players. You've seen those nominees on Twitter. And while we're at it, follow us on Twitter. You can check it out down below. Also, subscribe to our YouTube page and go download the Locker Room app if you want to have some more discussion about who won these awards. Shane, Lucas, and I are there every Wednesday at 7 and every Sunday at 10:30. So check that out as well. Download the Locker Room app. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube. So now we're diving into the Golden Test Tube Awards. We weren't sure that this fantasy football season was going to happen. And at the beginning of the fantasy football season, there was a little thing that kind of threw everything off. At first, we thought it was only going to be 2 weeks. Then it was a month. Then there was a little bit of glimmer of hope. Thought it was going to return to somewhat normalcy. And then we went back to not there, another whole month. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about the Christian McCaffrey injury timeline. No, but in all seriousness, the pandemic hit earlier this year, and we were able to get through a fantasy football season, and for that, I'm grateful. Hopefully, you fared well in your fantasy leagues. I'm going to throw it now to a guy who fared pretty well in our fantasy league. Won our league championship. I was talking smack to him all year, so got to give him credit where credit's due. That is Spitfire Lucas Parrish. Lucas, take it away.
Thank you, Jack, for that fantastic introduction. This fantasy season was definitely the strangest that I've ever experienced, from an abundance of player injuries due to the lack of an off-season, to players constantly having to sit out because of COVID concerns. There were weeks when I wasn't sure I'd even have enough players to put in my starting lineup. You know, I feel like my top 10 wide receivers entering the fantasy football draft period really sums up well how this season went. Number 1 was hurt for most of the season. Number 2 was hurt for most of the season. Number 3 was a stud. Number 4 was a stud. Number 5 was good, not quite number 5, but was pretty good. Number 6, don't ask. Number 7 was hurt for a bit, but mostly just a little disappointing. Number 8 was a stud. Number 9 was hurt for most of the season. And number 10 was a wide receiver used like a tight end who cared more about TikTok than football. So really, to sum that up, you've got 5 guys who were hurt for most of the season, 4 studs. There were still some good parts about this fantasy football season. And then 1 TikTok influencer.
Lucas, I've seen some of your TikTok dances. I would not be making jokes about that, and I would not want anyone to find your account that you have there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Golden Test Tubes Award Show. I am your third host here, the king of trades, Shane Palma. And no, I'm not wearing a tie because I don't know how to tie a tie. But that's okay, because Michael Thomas doesn't know how to run anything else than a slant route. So to each their own. We got a great show for you tonight. You know, when I found out that I was hosting tonight, I had a huge smile on my face. But you see that right there? You saw that little Stonewall expression that I just made? That was the face that I had after I drafted Kenyon Drake in almost every single league this year. If you're going to go around tweeting that you're going to win people fantasy championships, well, I think your Twitter account should be banned too. Dak Prescott, what can I say? He was my MVP pick for this season. I was able to speak to him in August before practice one time, and I yelled to him, "Dak, break a leg." And he yelled back, "Thanks, I will." I think he took that one a bit too literally there. Prayers out to Dak. Hopefully he's doing well. Full recovery there for next season. I was very nervous about hosting tonight. but I met up last night with Rodrigo Blankenship. Can we just acknowledge that man's existence for a second? What a great guy. We spent the entire night, 14 hours, building a Lego Millennium Falcon set. That's what he does. He helped me calm my nerves. Here, take a look. 14 hours for that thing. Can you believe it? I love him. Love Blankenship. Listen, we got an award show to get to tonight. Lots to talk about here. First award of the night is Fantasy Performance of the Year. Here are your nominees.
Tyreek Hill, Week 12.
And now you want a deep ball. Here it is. To Hill for the touchdown. 75 yards.
Alvin Kamara, Week 16.
And now 6. Tied for the most all time.
Patrick Mahomes, Week 3.
Mahomes going to take off for it. Has the corner and easy. Patrick Mahomes. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Devontae Adams, Week 7.
As Rodgers throws, it's Adams. Makes the catch and will take it in for his second touchdown today. 45 yards from Rodgers to Adams on third down.
Tyler Lockett, Week 7.
Like man coverage, too.
Wilson retreating, and he's going to throw deep downfield, and it is Lockett for the touchdown.
Now to announce the award, Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network.
Mike Garafolo, NFL Network here for the Fantasy Football Laboratory Award Show. And it is my honor to announce the best fantasy performance of 2020. May I have the envelope, please? Here it is. It is Alvin Kamara, no surprise. Week 16, those 6 touchdowns, flat out won championships in fantasy football for many folks. I was not amongst them, but for those who won on the strength of Kamara's 6 touchdown, could have been 7 touchdown performance. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to Kamara, the prestigious honor of the Fantasy Football Laboratories Award for Best Fantasy Performance of 2020. It goes to Alvin Kamara. Congrats to everyone, and to anyone who lost their championship, despite the fact that they had Kamara in their lineup in Week 16. You must have sucked in the rest of your draft, or maybe forgot to set your lineup. I have no idea. But congrats to everybody who won the hardware, and to Kamara for bringing it home.
Our next award is Fantasy Kicker of the Year. The nominees for Fantasy Kicker of the Year are Younghoe Koo, kicker for the Atlanta Falcons, Tyler Bass, kicker for the Buffalo Bills, Jason Sanders, kicker for the Miami Dolphins, Rodrigo Blankenship, kicker for the Indianapolis Colts, and Jason Myers, kicker for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the winner of Kicker of the Year will go to a guy who was clutch in moments when he needed to be. A guy that I had on one of my teams and would single-handedly win me weeks. He didn't finish as the #1 overall kicker, but that was in large part due to a couple weeks that he was injured and didn't play. He had multiple 20-point weeks. That is, of course, Younghoe Koo. Congratulations, Koo. Coming back, Koo started off his career in Los Angeles, San Diego Chargers at the time, struggled a little bit, got cut, went on to the AAF where he was the best kicker in the league there for the Atlanta Legends, moved back into the NFL, and just has been so good for the Atlanta Falcons since coming back. Congratulations, Koo. Well deserved, and thank you for all you did for your fantasy teams.
All right, our next award is Comeback Player of the Year. We've got a bunch of guys who have been around the league for a while, faded out, maybe due to injury, they were out of the league for separate reasons, but they came back this year and were fantasy relevant and helped your team win. So these are your nominees for Comeback Fantasy Player of the Year. First off, we have AJ Green, Cincinnati Bengals, Antonio Brown, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jerick McKinnon, San Francisco 49ers, Ben Roethlisberger, the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Rob Gronkowski, the tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now to present the award, former NFL player and brother of Rob Gronkowski, Chris Gronkowski.
What's up, everybody? Chris Gronkowski here, and today I wanted to announce the winner for the Fantasy Comeback Player of the Year award. This guy beat out Big Ben. This guy beat out AB. This guy is an absolute beast. I'm talking about my bro, Rob. Rob, congratulations. Comeback Player of the Year. Let's go!
We've done it. We've reached the award that absolutely no one wants to receive. That's right. It is the Fantasy Football Bust of the Year. These are guys who absolutely sucked this year. Guys that we regretted drafting. Guys that we hope to never see on our teams again, unless maybe their situation changes. Maybe they break out next year. Maybe they have a bounce back season. But for this year, 2020 was certainly not their year. Here are your nominees for 2020 Fantasy Bust of the Year. Running back for the Atlanta Falcons, Todd Gurley. Running back for the Arizona Cardinals, Kenyon Drake. Tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles, Zach Ertz. Running back for the Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott. And wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, DJ Chark. And here it is. I have it. Your winner for Fantasy Bust of the Season is Zach Ertz, tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, unfortunately, Zach is not able to join us tonight. It would have been probably pretty upsetting for him to accept this award, but he has to accept the facts. This year for him, he was drafted as the number 4 overall tight end in most drafts, ahead of guys like Darren Waller and Gesicki and Hurst. There were so many names that he was taken before. And while Ertz was hurt some of the season, he still played the 8 minimum games where he qualified for this award, and it didn't work out in his favor. Zach Ertz, you are the Fantasy Bust of the Year.
All right, our next award is Breakout Player of the Year. So fantasy championships can be won on the waiver wire. They can be won in the late rounds of your draft if you pick that right sleeper guy who breaks out heading into the new fantasy football year. So here are your nominees for Fantasy Breakout of the Year.
Calvin Ridley, Atlanta Falcons.
Caught for the touchdown, Ridley.
DK Metcalf, Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, Metcalf got it! Touchdown, Seattle. On 4th down, they leave the offense out there and not only get the first down, they deliver a strike to DK Metcalf.
Stephon Diggs, Buffalo Bills.
Off the play action. Allen hit as he throws, able to complete it. Diggs, and taillights time. Diggs is looking back, touchdown, and he stumbles into the end zone. It's a 50-yard pass play.
James Robinson, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Robinson has some room. Robinson, there he goes. First NFL touchdown for the undrafted rookie, James Robinson.
Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
Here goes Allen going down the side. He's got his receiver.
And now to present the award, please welcome Divine Ozigbo of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
To the listeners of the Fantasy Football Laboratory podcast, I just wanted to present the award winner of Breakout Star of 2020 to my teammate, James Robinson. I heard he had some stiff competition going up against Diggs, DK, Ridley. But you know, my boy James, he did his thing this year, and he was a breakout man. So appreciate y'all supporting him. Appreciate y'all supporting us. You know, hope this podcast is great.
Our next award is for the Fantasy Rookie of the Year. So what were we looking for when it came to determining who deserved to win the Fantasy Rookie of the Year? And really it was simple. A rookie NFL player, so a player in their first year in the NFL, really making a fantasy impact and helping lead teams to their fantasy championships. Now, obviously, it's very difficult for rookies to make that kind of impact. There are not a lot of rookies year in and year out who really make enough of an impact to really be fantasy relevant. However, there were a handful who were this season. So without further ado, the nominees for Fantasy Rookie of the Year are Justin Herbert, quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Jefferson, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, James Robinson, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts, and T. Higgins, wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the player who won this award, that we gave this award to, played at a ridiculously high level, finished actually as a top 10 player in their position, and it was in the hardest position to pick up for NFL players, and that is Justin Herbert, the quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers. The quarterback position is the hardest position in football, and the fact that Justin Herbert was able to do it at the high level that he was, especially on a Los Angeles Chargers team that wasn't particularly good. You know, he had some help around him, but he definitely was a stud this season. Broke the rookie touchdown pass record, 31 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and only played in 15 games. Didn't even play in the full 16. Justin Herbert was a guy who I'm sure was in a lot of fantasy championships just because it was such an unfair advantage to have, just to be able to pick him up from waivers and start him. So Justin Herbert is the winner of Fantasy Rookie of the Year. Congratulations.
All right, moving on to our next award. Our next award is Second Half Savior. So a lot of these guys broke out towards the end of the season, either in the fantasy football playoffs or later in the year. Got some young guys, we've got some old guys. I had a few of these guys on my team, but it was too little too late for me. Hopefully, it wasn't too little too late for you, and you had great playoff runs from these players who are your nominees for Second Half Savior. So starting off, J.D. McKissic, Washington football team, who had a great second half. We have David Montgomery, Chicago Bears running back. Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. And the old guy of the bunch, T.Y. Hilton, wide receiver, Indianapolis Colts. And now to present this award, WGN Chicago sports reporter, son of the late, great Walter Payton, and former NFL player himself, Jarrett Payton.
The Fantasy Football Laboratory, the podcast, one of my favorites. I gotta love it. Thank you guys for giving me an opportunity to hand out one of these awards. Listen, you know, when it comes down to it, fantasy awards are everything. And at the end of the year, we always look back on the football season and we kind of just reminisce on guys that we thought were supposed to hit early on that didn't, guys that were sleepers that turned into valuable pickups at the end of the season. So it's only right that I get a chance to announce the winner of the Fantasy Second Half Savior Award. And for me, it's just an honor. There was a lot of different people that were up for this award, but it's my honor to announce that the winner of the award is David Montgomery, the running back for the Chicago Bears, man. Listen, you talk about a young man. A lot of people doubted him early on in the season, saying, oh, he's not the running back for the future for the Bears. He can't get it done. And I told people all the time, just wait. They got to fix the offensive line. And they did that. The Bears fixed the offensive line. And the next thing you know, David Montgomery in the back end of the season became that running back that I knew he was. And I was telling people that he was. He runs hard, got great balance, great vision, can catch out of the backfield. And what he's done for the Bears in the second half has really helped them back into a playoff berth against the Saints. So David Montgomery, that man wins. Yeah, the Fantasy Second Half Savior Award, and it's my honor to be able to present him the award. Montgomery, you the guy, man. 32. Put him in, let him spin, and the Bears, they've been winning since they've been doing that. Appreciate you guys, man. Fantasy Football Laboratory, you guys are the best. Appreciate you guys' podcast. Look forward to joining you guys on the podcast soon. As always, I was here, but now I'm gone. Peace.
Our next award is the Untapped Potential Award. Now, the recipient of this award is a guy who we think showed some flashes this year, really had some good moments, but who we think next year has a really high chance of taking another step forward and potentially being a sleeper in fantasy drafts and a stud next season for your fantasy teams. The nominees for this category are Laviska Shenault, wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Deebo Samuel, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, Mike Gesicki, tight end for the Miami Dolphins, and Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the winner of this award is a guy who really, especially towards the end of the season, started to come on strong, started to have a lot of really productive games. Recently, the offensive coordinator, who is known for not utilizing this position in their offenses, has just retired, and yet this player is poised for a breakout year in 2021. That, of course, is tight end Mike Gesicki for the Miami Dolphins. Chan Gailey, he's gone. Mike Gesicki, man, he has a lot of potential, super athletic. His numbers at the combine coming out of college were absolutely ridiculous. He's recently started to put it all together, and he really hasn't had drops in the NFL. His hands have been sound as well. Gesicki, I think, will be a great tight end next year, and that is why we are awarding him with the Untapped Potential Award.
This is it. We have made it to the final award of the night, the most prestigious honor you can win. It is the Fantasy MVP of the season. It is my honor that I was chosen tonight to present this award. Here are your nominees.
Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals.
Hops inside the 10. Murray turning on the speed, and Kyler Murray.
Dalvin Cook, Minnesota Vikings.
There he goes inside the 20, and he is gone.
Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
By Moss, time for Allen, deep to the end zone, and caught for a touchdown.
Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs.
Why not go back to him? First down.
Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints.
Breeze, Kamara out of the backfield. Alvin Kamara reaches out at the goal line. Touchdown, New Orleans.
Yeah, the big run, he finishes it off.
Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans.
Henry breaking free. 20, 25, off to the races. They may not catch him. They won't catch him. Touchdown.
Devontae Adams, Green Bay Packers.
Rodgers throws, finds Adams for a Packers touchdown.
And now to present the award, please welcome back Shane Palmer.
That is an extremely talented group of individuals there. You could make the case for any of them that they deserve this honor, but here, right here, I have the winner for the 2020 Fantasy MVP of the season. And your winner is, wow, Travis Kelce, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, he wasn't drafted in the first round in a good amount of leagues this year, but Travis Kelce finished with the 4th most points for a wide receiver if he would have been taken in that range. Probably the same range for running backs, and obviously the first overall tight end off of the board, and the most points scored at the tight end position. Travis Kelce was a game changer, an X factor in many matchups. He won people weeks just based on the sole position that he played. The advantage that he gave people was insurmountable compared to the other wide receivers and running backs. It is my honor to present Travis Kelce with the MVP of the 2020 football season.
All right, thank you for tuning in to the Golden Test Tube Awards. Once again, if you disagree with our picks, you don't like who we chose for a certain award, you thought another nominee should have won, go download the Locker Room app. It's free on the App Store, and you can chat with me, Shane, and Lucas. That's Wednesdays at 7 or Sundays at 10:30. So download the app, chat with us, discuss with us the winners of this award, and talk about fantasy football for next year as well. Once again, thank you for tuning in to the Golden Test Tube Awards. It's been a lot of fun. I know I speak for Shane and Lucas when I say we had a lot of fun doing this, and we thank you for all your support in our first year doing the Fantasy Football Laboratory. This sort of wraps it all up. The culmination is right now. Hopefully you had good success in your fantasy football seasons, and we look forward to talking to you throughout the offseason and heading in to next year as well. Thank you, and good luck in all your leagues, and good luck to your teams in the playoffs.